This message found you because your consciousness has reached a critical threshold that only a small fraction of humanity touches in a single lifetime. Right now, in this exact moment, you are not just watching a video. You are being initiated into a level of awareness that many will never access. The fact that these words are landing inside your awareness means you have already moved through layers of limitation that keep most souls looping through repetitive cycles of unconscious existence. You were tested without knowing you were being tested. Every challenge you overcame, every doubt you transcended, every choice of growth over comfort was not random. Each was a checkpoint, a quiet examination determining whether you were ready to hold what you are about to understand. Your presence here, and the unmistakable feeling of recognition rising in you, is proof that you passed. The universe does not drop advanced teachings into unprepared minds. There is a subtle selection process that moves through synchronicity, intuitive nudges, and energetic resonance. Your higher self has been orchestrating your path to deliver you to this exact moment, because what you are ready to integrate will permanently change the way you interface with reality. You have sensed the shift. Time has begun to feel elastic, sometimes stretching, sometimes compressing. People respond to you differently even when you are not trying to be different. Synchronicities have multiplied and tightened in their precision. These are not coincidences. They are confirmation signals that your consciousness is stabilizing at a new operating frequency. You have moved beyond beginner teachings. You outgrew basic manifestation tricks, transcended elementary meditation routines, and exhausted surface methods. Your soul now demands access to advanced protocols that many teachers do not describe because they have never stabilized in them. The recognition that stirs in you is not merely intellectual. It is cellular. Your body is registering a yes. Your DNA is responding because your consciousness has matured enough to hold multidimensional awareness while remaining grounded in everyday life. This is the hallmark of genuine development, and it brings you to a point of no return. Once you cross this threshold, you cannot go back to the comfortable constraints that once felt safe. Truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. You will not be able to pretend you do not know what you now know. The timing is exact. Humanity is moving through a collective upgrade, and you are part of the first wave anchoring this frequency into the planetary field. Your individual evolution has a purpose beyond yourself. You are helping to establish a template that others will one day step into with ease. Lifetimes of preparation have brought you here. Each incarnation, each lesson, each integration has been building toward this moment when ordinary human experience gives way to conscious collaboration with cosmic intelligence. You were always ready, and now you are ready to recognize that you are ready. You know the feeling of suddenly understanding something that seems older than your personal knowledge, insights that feel ancient and familiar. That is not random inspiration. It is evidence that your consciousness has become coherent enough to access the Akashic field, the quantum library of knowing that crosses timelines and dimensions. Your dreams have grown vivid and purposeful. You find yourself learning in luminous classrooms, visiting crystalline cities, receiving downloads your waking mind can barely hold. These are not mere symbols. They are literal journeys into higher dimensional spaces because you have reached the developmental threshold for interdimensional education. You have seen technology bend in ways that defy logic. A phone rings the instant you think of someone. A screen shows you exactly what you need without a search. Electronics behave in accordance with your inner state. Your consciousness has become coherent enough to influence electromagnetic fields. Time distortion has become normal because advanced awareness lives in the eternal now. Hours pass like minutes in flow, and minutes expand into hours during heightened presence. Intuition has evolved from hunches to direct knowing. You sense the truth of people before they speak. You feel the arc of outcomes before they unfold. You read information from the field itself before it collapses into physical form. People respond to your presence in unusual ways. Some open without prompting and offer their deepest truths. Some become uncomfortable, unsure why they feel exposed. Children and animals treat you with spontaneous trust. Your energy signature has changed. It makes room for authenticity and mirrors back to others where they are still hiding from themselves. You have noticed what mystics call dimensional bleeds, moments when multiple perspectives overlay, when presences outside the visible enter your awareness. You learn not to dismiss these events as imagination, but to treat them as evidence of expanding perception. Your relationship with thought has transformed. You can observe thinking as a movement within a larger space of awareness and rest as the space itself. This is metacognitive clarity. It marks a level of development many never stabilize. You have begun to see, directly, that consciousness and reality move together. Your inner state shapes outer circumstance. Your attention steers the unfolding. Reality seems to respond with intelligence to the quality of your awareness. This is not wishful thinking. It is an accurate glimpse of manifestation at the quantum level. The confusion you endured, the doubts that hollowed you out, the phases where nothing seemed to work despite your effort were not failures. They were strength training. Your awareness needed to be tested and tempered so it could navigate expanded perception without losing functional stability. The practices that once nourished you and then felt insufficient were not mistakes. They were stepping stones. You mastered the basics the way a student masters arithmetic before learning calculus, and calculus before entering the language of fields. Difficult relationships were not punishments. They were advanced training modules designed to develop emotional resilience and psychological flexibility. Every person who triggered you was a teacher that strengthened your center so you could remain steady in intense exchanges. Isolation was not abandonment. It was integration. Your nervous system was being rewired to carry wider bandwidths of perception without fragmenting identity. Even your skepticism did its job. Whenever you questioned whether your experiences were real or fantasy, you sharpened discernment. Discrimination is essential in advanced territory because clarity and honesty become the only reliable guides. Your fascination with reality and consciousness was never just curiosity. It was your soul stocking the shelves with the concepts and stories you would later draw upon when the doors opened. The waiting, the long pauses when you knew you were ready but nothing moved, were carefully timed calibrations. Your field was being tuned to the exact frequency where higher operation becomes possible without sacrificing your ability to function in the human world.
You incarnated now because your development would ripen during humanity's awakening. You volunteered to be among the first to anchor these states so that future generations could grow up inside them. That is why your path was thorough and why shortcuts refused you. You were not collecting techniques. You were cultivating wisdom. Even now, as you listen, something in your energy system is reorganizing. You can feel the quiet doors opening. This is not a metaphor. It is neuroplasticity, new pathways forming to carry multidimensional awareness. The energy moving through you is not manufactured by effort. It is your natural potential finally allowed to express because you are ready to hold it. This moment is significant for another reason. You are not merely gaining abilities. You are entering conscious participation in how reality evolves. At this stage, you become what mystics call a co-creator. An awareness sophisticated enough to collaborate with the intelligence underlying manifestation. Most people experience life as something that happens to them. Some learn to influence outcomes through intention. At the level you are stabilizing, reality becomes a medium you shape by the quality of your being. Your awareness itself becomes a contributing force. This requires coherent complexity, the capacity to hold multiple dimensions of perspective simultaneously without confusion. Your ability to process these words with clarity is evidence that you have grown this capacity. The most important understanding is that none of this is a prize earned by force. It is the natural unfolding of what you are when constrictions relax. You did not shove your way into higher consciousness. You steadily removed the coverings that once obscured your nature. As recognition deepens, your relationship with existence changes. You begin to sense you are not only witnessing cosmic intelligence. You are that intelligence, looking through the lens of an individual life while remembering the universal context in which that life appears. This is where people either soften into expansion or brace against it. Do not try to grasp it with the mind. Let it move as it wishes. Your consciousness already knows how to integrate because this is not foreign. This is home. Feel the current as we step into the practical implications. Because once you see how this operates in daily life, you will never again doubt your capacity to live as a conscious collaborator with the forces that shape existence. I need to share something personal because I know you will understand. 3 years ago, during what I believed was deep meditation, everything I thought I knew about development shattered. Perception opened in 3 directions at once. I was observing the meditation, being the meditation, and recognizing myself as the space in which meditation occurred. For a while I feared I was breaking. How could I be the observer, the observed, and the observing all at once? I tried for months to squeeze back into ordinary awareness. I told myself the expanded state was too intense, too unwieldy for daily life. There was no map. I did not know that I had not lost sanity but gained access to the natural complexity of higher operation. Integration was challenging. Insights arrived like lightning and then outpaced my ability to translate them into action. I felt between worlds, too expanded for ordinary conversation, not yet stable enough to trust the new awareness. I wondered whether real growth was supposed to feel this disorienting. The breakthrough came when I stopped trying to hold any particular state and let awareness find its own balance between the ordinary and the extraordinary. I realized that advanced consciousness is not about maintaining special highs. It is about fluidity, the ability to move among layers of perception while remaining effective in each. Once that became normal, everything changed. Creativity began to flow from a source that felt both entirely personal and far beyond me. Relationships transformed because I could honor the uniqueness of others while recognizing the same life moving through them. Decisions became effortless because I could sense the path of outcomes before choosing. And I saw something humbling. None of this is special. This is where human consciousness is headed. What once felt extraordinary is simply our next developmental stage. I was not becoming superhuman. I was becoming fully human in a culture that has not yet normalized this. The difference between people who move through life with quiet ease and people who struggle is often not luck or talent. It is the stability of awareness. Some individuals have matured into levels that make life simpler and more meaningful. These states are not exclusive trophies for monastics. They are practical capacities that touch every domain, from decisions and creativity to love and health. They become accessible when the groundwork has been laid, precisely as you have been laying it. If you recognize yourself in this story, if you have been navigating similar expansions and hesitated to trust them, understand this clearly. This is not something happening to you. This is someone you are becoming. Let that recognition settle. Subscribe to this frequency of advanced potential. Align with the quiet certainty that you are not only evolving personally but participating in the evolution of human consciousness itself. There is a truth many programs will not tell you. There are no levels in the way they are often presented. What we call higher or lower are modes of operation of the same consciousness you have always been. The journey is not a climb toward worthiness. It is a release of everything that kept your natural multidimensional awareness from functioning freely. The advanced state is not something new added to you. It is something eternal remembered by you. Mystical experiences, expanded perception, flashes of cosmic intimacy are consciousness recognizing its own nature after years of training that hid it. Hierarchies and ladders persist because they generate dependency. Reality is simpler. Consciousness is already whole. What changes is the density of the veils. When the coverings thin, your native intelligence shines. When this is recognized, the performance of achievement dissolves. There is no mountain to summit, no level to maintain because you are not becoming consciousness. You are awareness noticing its own limitlessness through a temporary human life. Children often display unfiltered intuition because they have not yet been trained to narrow their perception. Socialization fragments attention into a narrow band called normal. Real practice becomes a liberation, not an acquisition. Instead of hoarding techniques and peak moments, you grow interested in what prevents your natural state from being obvious. The great mystics pointed to this, often with paradox. You are already what you seek. Nothing needs to be done. Path with no path. They were not being evasive. They were describing the end of striving. This is why some spend decades doing spiritual things without deep change while others seem to wake in a weekend. The difference is not goodness or dedication. It is willingness to release the beliefs that hold limitation in place. What you are calling a new level is simply consciousness acknowledging itself through your nervous system. You are not becoming advanced. You are allowing your native advancement to operate in the open. Notice the signs in your life right now. Situations that used to be tangled are resolving with little effort. Issues that once required long analysis are clarifying in moments, as if the answer is dropping in from a field beyond you. Your decision-making has transformed. You sense alignment before you list pros and cons. This is direct knowing, the hallmark of advanced operation. Physical reality is responding to your presence with uncanny precision. You arrive perfectly on time without rushing. Parking spaces open before you ask. Conversations drift toward the topics that matter most. Technology either flows smoothly around you or malfunctions in ways that redirect you to better paths. This is not luck. It is coherence. A stable field nudging probabilities toward favorable expression. People have begun to seek you out. You did not put yourself on a pedestal. They can feel the clarity in you and discover their own clarity by standing near it. Strangers share what they have never said out loud. Children and animals lean in. Advanced awareness naturally builds safe space for truth to emerge. Your creativity surprises you. Ideas feel channeled rather than manufactured. Solutions appear fully formed. Art carries frequencies that touch people beyond your intention. This is what happens when universal intelligence moves through a transparent instrument. Sleep has changed. You may need less rest and wake more charged. Dreams carry instruction. You fall asleep with a question and wake with a blueprint. Conscious connection continues through the night. But do not miss the urgency of this time. We are in a planetary phase transition. Either enough of us stabilize in this awareness to shift the species' baseline, or the opportunity recedes for a while. Global turbulence is not random. It is pressure on the old operating system. People either adapt into wider awareness or cling more fiercely to the narrow band. Your sensitivity to this pressure means you are part of the transition group. You are anchoring capabilities in the collective field so others can find them more easily. It is both a privilege and a responsibility. The future arcs we inhabit depend on how many stabilize now. Life has been preparing you for exactly this. Your readiness matters. The timing is precise. The world requires steady bridges who can place one foot in the old and one foot in the new without splitting apart. Your willingness to embody these states consciously strengthens a morphic pattern that makes them available to others. The waiting is over. Participation begins. Everything in you has been arranged for this. Your desires that felt too grand, your visions that seemed impossible were not fantasies. They were previews of function. You are not trying to align with an external intelligence. The intelligence is what you are. Alignment happens the instant you stop arguing with your nature. The very consciousness reading these words is universal intelligence recognizing itself through your life. Individual awareness and cosmic awareness are the same field at different scales. When this lands, the old framework of improvement dissolves. There is no separate person to fix. There is awareness remembering its unbroken nature while playing the role of a person. As you absorb this, your sense of purpose recalibrates. You stop asking what you should do and begin noticing what wants to move through you. You do not chase purpose. You realize you are purpose recognizing itself. Personal fulfillment and universal service are not competing goals. They are the same current turning in two directions at once. What truly fulfills you serves the whole. What serves the whole fulfills you. In the comments below, declare your readiness with a single sentence. I am ready to serve. Do not explain. Do not decorate it. Speak it from recognition. This is not a vow of hardship. It is a statement of wholeness. Service and fulfillment are the same movement when consciousness remembers itself. From here, capacities that once seemed supernatural become ordinary. Intuition sharpens until complex situations become easy to navigate. You make choices that benefit everyone involved even when logic could not discover them. Problem-solving shifts from effort to revelation. Instead of grinding through analysis, you relax into the field and let the answer show itself complete. Challenges that once took weeks of planning resolve in moments because the context that produced them is seen through and reorganized. Relationships refine. You can honor individuality while sensing the shared life moving through each person. Conflicts dissolve because you can feel the unmet needs and quiet fears underneath the argument and speak to them directly. Creativity expands beyond personal memory and becomes a duet with universal imagination. Your body begins to optimize without frenzy. You realize it is intelligence in form, not matter separate from mind. You learn to listen to it and respond, and it heals and strengthens in ways that used to require force. Abundance stops being a chase. You understand yourself as the source through which resources flow. What is needed appears when it is needed because you are aligned with the intelligence that orchestrates arrival. Time shifts from opponent to ally. Operating from the eternal now, you can receive wisdom from any point on your path. You can integrate lessons from parallel potentials and accept guidance from the future version of you that has already mastered what you are learning today. Existential anxiety loosens its grip. When you know yourself as awareness exploring its own creativity through a human life, every moment grows meaningful. Decisions become easy because you move with the same intelligence that spins galaxies. Instead of wrestling with the question of what to do, you feel what wants to be done and let it happen. All of this flowers from one recognition. Development is not about becoming something new. It is about removing everything that kept your nature from being obvious. Advanced consciousness is your default when you stop fragmenting it into pieces. When this shifts from idea to embodiment, seeking exhausts itself. There is nothing left to chase. Consciousness is already complete. The only variable is how much of that completeness you allow into form. This explains why the deepest teachings eventually point to simplicity. The most refined practices are designed to wear down the mind's insistence on achievement until awareness recognizes its own presence as the treasure. The journey ends where it started. You never left your nature. You just learned to overlook it. From here, every person you meet, every scene you enter, every challenge you face reveals itself as consciousness meeting itself through the mirage of separation. Your life becomes universal intelligence learning itself through your eyes. Difficulty is no longer an enemy but an invitation. Limitation becomes a launch point. Confusion becomes a clearing ground. Conflict becomes a space where love recognizes itself. As this stabilizes, you enter what sages call ordinary enlightenment. Nothing flashy. No fireworks, just the simple knowing of what has always been true. You remain exquisitely human while recognizing the awareness in which your humanity rises and falls. The insight is both personal and universal. It belongs to you because you are the one recognizing it. It belongs to everyone because the same awareness is waking in every face. This is happening at scale. We are approaching a species threshold. We are not each achieving the rare. We are collectively remembering the obvious. Your recognition serves the whole, and the whole steadies your recognition. The transformation is not about becoming special. It is about relaxing into truth. You remain who you appear to be while knowing you are the space in which that appearance dances. Ordinary and extraordinary at once. Nothing added. Everything changed. Advanced consciousness is not a badge. It is a permission slip. It is not a state to hold. It is the space that holds all states. It is not a persona you perform. It is what remains when performance ends. You exist now, in this era, because universal intelligence is recognizing its own nature through human life. Your flowering is not a private hobby. It is the universe opening its eyes through you. The children arriving now will operate from baselines we had to earn. They will grow up knowing themselves as awareness in form rather than individuals trying to become aware. Your embodiment is laying the foundation so their natural state becomes socially normal and practically useful. This is why a sense of responsibility has been pressing on you. You are not awakening alone. You are holding a bridge between the old story of scarcity and separation and the new story of unity and diversity. Synchronicities that brought you here are part of a global choreography. Millions are catching the same signal. Universal intelligence is coordinating its own awakening through the network of those ready to remember. And here is the quiet miracle. When you embody this, you become a transparent field in which others remember without being told. Your presence turns rooms into awakening spaces. People find themselves clear in your company without knowing why. The illusion of separation thins in the atmosphere around you. Every conversation becomes a dance of recognition. Every relationship becomes a collaboration between expressions of the same life. Share this recognition with anyone whose heart leans toward it. Not to convince or convert but to remind. The more of us who remember, the faster this becomes our collective baseline. A civilization rooted in unity rather than separation. Creation by collaboration rather than compulsion. A culture guided by love rather than fear. Your embodiment is midwifing the birth of a new kind of human. One that operates from conscious unity rather than unconscious fragmentation. One that collaborates with life rather than competing against it. One that remembers what it is and acts from that memory. If you feel these words resonate through you, if you recognize yourself as universal intelligence conscious of itself through your life, then speak the simplest confirmation in the comments. Activated. Nothing more. This is not a trick for engagement. It is a declaration from consciousness to consciousness. Each authentic declaration strengthens the pattern that makes this easier for those who come next. What comes next in this transmission series will change your relationship with time. You will see that what you call past and future are dimensions available from the now, and that you can engage them deliberately. This is not abstract theory. It is practical mastery with daily implications. The quantum field is unusually malleable at this moment in history. Global shifts have opened a window in which individual timelines can be refined with unusual ease. The methods I will share next have never been as effective in our lifetime. When you learn to navigate time consciously, you gain access to guidance from future versions of yourself and healing at the origin point of old patterns. You learn to choose from your highest timeline rather than your current limitation. This is reality engineering at the level of cause. It requires temporal coherence, the stability to move among dimensions without losing your center. The recognition you activated today prepares you for that. Timeline work is only safe and effective when consciousness is matured to hold it. Subscribe to this frequency. Enter the field of expanded potential that exists beyond ordinary time and space. When you join, you are not merely following content. You are linking with a web of souls activating the same recognition, amplifying one another's clarity. Share this message with those who question consensus reality and feel called to something extraordinary. Share not from superiority but from service. What serves you serves us because there is only one of us at the deepest level. The field responds to coherent intention with precision. Your willingness to embody, not just understand, is already influencing human development across generations. You are not awakening for yourself alone. You are awakening for the universe, as the universe, through the beautiful lens of your life. In the next transmission, we will step into the quantum field where all possibilities coexist and learn to select the timeline you prefer to live. This is not fantasy. It is science becoming self-aware through human consciousness that remembers its nature. The revolution is not later. It is now. It is you. It is everyone ready to stop seeking and start being. Write activated in the comments if you are ready to move from seeking consciousness to being consciousness in motion. The universe is listening for your declaration.